Victoria Chase ripped the badge from Marcus Reed's chest so hard the lanyard snapped. 15 years of service. 15 years of crawling through ducts at midnight keeping this tower alive. Gone in 3 seconds. His 8-year-old daughter stood frozen in the doorway, watching her father be stripped of everything. "Get out," Victoria said. "Both of you." 22 minutes later, the building went completely dark. The billion-dollar deal collapsed. 47 people trapped in elevators. The backup generators failed. And the only man who could save Meridian Tower was walking down 42nd Street with a little girl who wouldn't stop crying. He should have kept walking. He didn't. Drop your city below. I want to see where this story reaches tonight. Victoria Chase ripped the badge from his chest. The lanyard snapped. The plastic cracked against her palm. And Marcus Reed, 15 years of service, 4 military tours, single father to an 8-year-old girl, stood there and let her do it. "You think you can just walk into my executive lounge?" Victoria's voice cut through the room like broken glass. "You think the rules don't apply to you? The HVAC failed on floors 15 through 22. Marcus kept his voice level. "This is the only room with working air. I needed to cool down before I passed out." "I don't care if you were dying." She threw the badge on the floor. "You're maintenance. You don't belong here. You never belonged here." Behind her, 3 security guards shifted uncomfortably. They knew Marcus. Everyone knew Marcus. He was the guy you called at 2 a.m. when the boiler exploded. The guy who remembered your kid's birthday. The guy who'd once carried a heart attack victim down 18 flights of stairs when the elevators jammed. None of them moved to help him. "Ms. Chase," one of them started, "did I ask you to speak silence?" Victoria turned back to Marcus. Her eyes were cold, calculating. She didn't see a man standing in front of her. She saw a problem, an obstacle, something to be removed. 15 years, Marcus said quietly. "What?" "I've worked in this building for 15 years. I know every pipe, every wire, every crack in the foundation. I've kept this place running through 3 blackouts, 2 floods, and a fire that should have taken the whole East Wing. And you're throwing me out because I needed 5 minutes to catch my breath." Victoria stepped closer, close enough that he could smell her perfume. Expensive, sharp, nothing like the industrial cleaner that lived in his pores. "Let me make something clear," she said. "I don't care how long you've been here. I don't care what you think you've done. You are replaceable. Everyone in this building is replaceable. The only thing that matters is results. And right now, the only result I see is a janitor who forgot his place." Marcus felt something twist in his gut. Not anger. He'd learned to bury that a long time ago. Something older. More familiar. The same feeling he'd had when the army discharged him after his wife died. When the hospital bills ate through his savings. When he'd stood in line at the food bank praying Emma wouldn't notice. He was being erased again. "Daddy." The voice came from the doorway, small, scared. Emma stood there in her faded backpack, her hair escaping from its braid, her eyes locked on the badge lying broken on the floor. Marcus's heart stopped. "Emma, what are you doing here?" "Mrs. Patterson sent me. You forgot to sign my permission slip." Her voice trembled. "Daddy, why is your badge on the ground?" Victoria looked at the girl like she was an insect that had wandered into a boardroom. "Get her out of here," Victoria ordered. "Both of them. Now." "Wait." Emma stepped forward. Something in her face shifted. The fear melted into something else. Something harder. "You're the lady from the big office, the one with all the windows." Victoria raised an eyebrow. "My daddy talks about you sometimes. He says you work really hard. He says you never go home." For a fraction of a second so brief that Marcus almost missed it, Victoria's mask cracked. Her jaw tightened. Her fingers curled at her sides. "He also says," Emma continued, "that some people look at things but they don't really see them. Like when the building makes noises at night and nobody listens except him. He says that's why things break. Because people stopped paying attention. Victoria stared at the little girl. 8 years old. Messy hair. Secondhand shoes. Speaking truth that cut deeper than any boardroom attack. "Get them out," Victoria said again. But her voice had changed. Quieter. Colder. Like she was trying to freeze something before it thawed. Now. The elevator felt like a coffin. Marcus held Emma's hand as they descended. 34 floors. Each one a year of his life he'd never get back. "Daddy." Emma's voice was small. "Did I say something wrong?" "No, sweetheart." He squeezed her hand. "You said something true. That's different." But she looked so mad. Sometimes the truth makes people mad, especially when they're not ready to hear it. The elevator stopped. The doors opened. And Marcus walked out of the building he'd given 15 years to, holding his daughter's hand, with nothing but the clothes on his back and a broken badge in his pocket. He had $47 in his checking account. Rent was due in 6 days. Emma's school lunch balance was negative. The landlord had already slid 2 notices under his door. He was 53 years old. A widower. A veteran with a bad knee and no college degree. And he'd just been fired by a woman who'd never learned his name. "Daddy." Emma tugged his sleeve as they stepped onto the sidewalk. "What are we going to do?" Marcus looked down at his daughter. She was trying so hard to be brave, trying so hard not to cry, just like she had at her mother's funeral 3 years ago when she'd held his hand through the whole service and never let go. "We're going to be okay," he said. The words tasted like ash. "We always are." 22 minutes later, his phone rang. They were 2 blocks from the subway. Emma was humming something to herself the way she did when she was trying not to think about hard things. Marcus almost didn't answer, but he recognized the building's number. "Mr. Reed." The voice on the other end was panicked. Danny. The young security guard who'd stood silent while Victoria destroyed him. "Mr. Reed, you need to come back right now." "I don't work there anymore." "The building's dead. Everything. Lights, elevators, backup systems. All of it. The Hartley Wells people are stuck between floors, and Ms. Chase has her big signing in 20 minutes, and nobody knows what to do." "Not my problem." "Marcus, please." Danny's voice cracked. "There are people trapped in those elevators. Old people. Scared people. And the fire department can't get here for another 30 minutes because there's a pileup on the bridge." Marcus stopped walking. Emma looked up at him confused. "The HVAC failure," Marcus said slowly. "The new projector they installed in the executive lounge. It overloaded the main breaker, didn't it? How did you? And the backup generators aren't kicking because nobody ever replaced the capacitor I flagged in my report 8 months ago. The one that got rejected because it wasn't in the budget." Silence on the other end. "That about right?" Marcus asked. "Yeah," Danny whispered. "That's exactly right." Marcus closed his eyes. He thought about Victoria Chase ripping the badge from his chest. The look in her eyes like he was nothing. Less than nothing. He thought about the $47 in his account. The rent due in 6 days. The job interviews he'd have to sit through at his age with no reference from his last employer. He should walk away. Let them figure it out themselves. Let Victoria Chase learn what happens when you throw away the people who actually keep the world running. But then he thought about the old people trapped in those elevators, scared, alone, wondering if anyone was coming. He thought about Maria in accounting who always saved him a cookie from the break room. About Danny who was 23 and just trying to do right. About the night janitors who depended on him to fix the heater before winter hit. They didn't choose this. "Daddy." Emma was watching him, reading him the way she always did. "You're going back, aren't you?" Marcus looked at his daughter. This fierce, stubborn, too smart little girl who'd already lost so much. "Yeah," he said. "I am." Even though she was mean, even though. Emma nodded slowly like she was working something out in her head. Okay, but I'm coming with you. Emma. You said we're a team. Her chin lifted. Teams don't split up. Marcus wanted to argue. Wanted to tell her to wait at the McDonald's on the corner where it was safe and warm and far away from Victoria Chase. But Emma's eyes were locked on his. Steady, certain, just like her mother's used to be. All right, he said. Let's go. The lobby was chaos. Emergency lights cast everything in blood red. People huddled in corners, some crying, some shouting into dead phones. Security guards moved through the crowd trying to maintain order, failing badly. Marcus pushed through the confusion, Emma's hand locked in his. He moved with purpose, with direction, like a man who knew exactly where he was going, because he did. Marcus! Danny appeared from the crowd face, slick with sweat. Thank God, it's bad. Really bad. I know. Marcus was already heading toward the service corridor. The main junction's in the sub-basement. If I can reroute power from the emergency grid, I can get the elevators moving. But the failsafe. Forget the failsafe. The failsafe's dead. I need to bypass it manually. Danny jogged to keep up. Can you do that? Guess we'll find out. They reached the service elevator. The old one. The manual one that nobody used anymore because it was slow and creaky and smelled like motor oil. Marcus pulled open the gate and stepped inside. Stay here, he told Emma. No. Emma, I'm not leaving you. Her eyes were fierce, stubborn. Not ever. Marcus looked at his daughter for a long moment. Then he reached out and pulled her inside. Hold on tight, he said, and don't touch anything. The sub-basement was a maze of shadows and pipes. Marcus moved through it like a man walking through his own bloodstream. He'd spent more hours down here than he could count, knew every valve, every junction, every quirk of the aging infrastructure. The building talked to him. It always had. He could hear it now. The wheeze of dying pumps, the groan of overloaded circuits, the desperate hum of systems trying to stay alive. There. He pointed to a junction box in the corner. The surge blew the main breaker, and because the backup capacitors shot the generators, can't jump-start the grid. Can you fix it? Emma asked. Maybe, but I need to reroute power from the emergency reserves. That means bypassing about 6 different safety protocols that exist for very good reasons. Will it be dangerous? Marcus looked at his daughter. Her face was pale in the dim light. Her hands were trembling, but she wasn't running. Yeah, he said honestly. It might be. Emma nodded. Okay. Okay. You've done dangerous things before, in the army. She took a shaky breath. Mom told me stories. She said you always came back, always. Marcus felt his throat tighten. I'll come back, he said. I promise. He went to work. His hands moved from memory, testing connections, tracing faults, coaxing the old systems back to life the way he'd done 100 times before. The junction box was hot. The wiring was frayed. Every time he touched a connection, sparks jumped and danced. One wrong move and he'd fry himself. But Marcus didn't stop, didn't hesitate, because somewhere above him, people were trapped in the dark, scared, waiting for someone to save them. And Victoria Chase was about to lose everything. What the hell is taking so long? Victoria paced the executive lounge like a caged tiger. The emergency lights painted her face in crimson. Her phone was dead. Her laptop was dead. Her billion-dollar deal was dying. The Hartley Wells people are still trapped, her operations manager reported. Fire department's 15 minutes out, maybe longer. And our backup systems are still offline. Nobody knows why. Victoria spun around. Then find someone who does. Ms. Chase. Her security chief stepped forward hesitant. There's something you should know. What? Marcus Reed, He came back. He's in the sub-basement right now trying to restore power. Victoria stopped. Her whole body went rigid. You called him. Danny did. He was the only one who... I fired him. Victoria's voice was ice. I personally fired him. I threw his badge on the ground in front of his child, and you called him back. The security chief didn't answer. He didn't need to. The accusation in Victoria's voice was really aimed at herself. She'd humiliated the man, degraded him, and now he was the only thing standing between her and complete ruin. Ma'am. Her operations manager's voice was tight. If he doesn't get those systems back online in the next 10 minutes, the Hartley Wells partners are walking, and once they walk, the whole deal collapses. We'll be the laughingstock of every business publication in the country. Victoria closed her eyes. She thought about Marcus Reed. The look on his face when she'd ripped away his badge. The quiet dignity in his voice when he'd told her 15 years of service. The way his daughter had looked at her with eyes that saw straight through the armor. Some people look at things, but they don't really see them. Victoria's hands were shaking. She didn't know why. Come on, she muttered under her breath. Come on, you stubborn bastard. Fix it. In the darkness of the sub-basement, Marcus made his final connection. For 3 heartbeats, nothing happened. Then the lights flickered, once, twice, and the building roared back to life. The pumps hummed. The circuits sang. The emergency grid handed off to the main power with a clunk that echoed through the walls like a heartbeat restarting. Marcus slumped against the junction box, sweat dripping down his face. Daddy? Emma threw her arms around him. You did it! He held her tight. His hands were shaking. His heart was pounding. But she was safe. The building was alive. And somewhere above him, people were stepping out of elevators, blinking in the light, wondering who had saved them. They would never know his name. Come on, sweetheart, Marcus said, pulling himself to his feet. Let's go home. Tiam. Victoria was waiting at the service elevator when the doors opened. She stood alone. No security. No assistance. Just her, in her $1,000 heels, and her perfectly tailored suit, looking at the man she'd tried to destroy. Marcus stepped out, Emma behind him. For a long moment, nobody spoke. You fixed it, Victoria said finally. I did. Why? Marcus looked at her. Really looked. And for the first time, he saw something beneath the armor. Something tired. Something broken. Because this building has a heartbeat, he said. And I wasn't going to let it die. Not even for you. Victoria's jaw tightened. Her eyes glistened. I was wrong, she said. The words came out rough, like they'd been scraped from somewhere deep inside her. About you. About everything. Marcus didn't respond. He just took Emma's hand and started toward the lobby. Wait! Victoria's voice cracked. Please. He stopped. I don't know how to do this, she said. Her composure was crumbling now. The mask was falling away. I don't know how to apologize. She stopped. I've never been good at seeing people. Not really. Not the way you do. Marcus turned back to face her. Why not? He asked quietly. Victoria opened her mouth, closed it. For a moment she looked like a lost child trying to find her way home. Because, she whispered, the last time I let myself see someone really see them, they died, and I couldn't save them. The words hung in the air between them. Marcus didn't ask who she meant, didn't push. He just stood there holding his daughter's hand and let the silence do what words couldn't. Go home, Ms. Chase, he said finally. Get some rest. The building's stable for now, but you'll need a full crew in here tomorrow. What about you? Marcus smiled. It was tired. Sad, but real. I'll figure it out. I always do. He and Emma walked toward the exit. The lobby was clearing now. People were laughing, hugging, relieved. None of them looked at the man in the worn work clothes, or the little girl in the second-hand shoes. They never did. The next morning, Marcus found an envelope under his door. He almost threw it away. Probably another eviction notice, another bill, another reminder of everything he didn't have. But Emma grabbed it first. "Daddy, look." She pointed at the handwriting on the front. "It says your name, like fancy handwriting." Marcus opened it. Inside was a formal letter. His termination confirmed. 2 week severance. Standard HR language that said nothing at all. But beneath the typed words, someone had written a note in blue ink. "I watched the security footage. I saw what you did. I saw how you did it. We need to talk. VC." At the bottom of the envelope there was something else. A check. Marcus stared at the number. His hands started shaking. "Daddy!" Emma tugged his sleeve. "What is it? Is it bad?" Marcus looked at his daughter, then back at the check, then at the note in Victoria Chase's handwriting. "No, sweetheart," he said slowly. "I don't think it's bad at all." His phone buzzed. Unknown number, but he recognized the prefix. He answered. "Mr. Reed." Victoria's voice was different now, softer, almost nervous. "I hope I'm not calling too early. It's 7 a.m. "I know, I haven't slept." She paused. "I've been watching the security footage from last night. All of it. The sub-basement, the junction box, the way you talked to your daughter while you worked." Marcus said nothing. "You told her you'd come back," Victoria continued. "You promised her, and then you did something that could have killed you. Without hesitation, not for money, not for recognition, just because people needed help. Is there a point to this call, Ms. Chase?" "Yes." She took a breath. "I need someone like you. Not as a janitor, not as maintenance, as something else, something I don't even have a name for yet." Marcus looked at Emma, who was eating cereal at the kitchen table, watching him with curious eyes. "I'm listening," he said. "There's a problem inside my company. Something I can't see. Someone I trusted. I think they're trying to destroy everything I've built. And I need someone who knows how to look at things. Really look. Someone who listens when everyone else is too busy talking." Marcus walked to the window. The morning sun was just starting to touch the city. Somewhere out there, Meridian Tower was waking up, beginning another day. "And what makes you think I'd help you?" he asked. "After everything you did." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. "Because you came back," she said finally. "When you had every reason not to, you came back anyway." Marcus closed his eyes. He thought about the $47, the overdue rent, the negative lunch balance. He thought about Emma eating her cereal, trusting him to make it okay. He thought about Victoria Chase, the look in her eyes when she'd mentioned someone dying, the crack in her armor she couldn't quite hide. "There's a coffee shop on 53rd and Lexington," he said. "Meet me there at noon. Come alone." "I'll be there." He hung up. Emma looked up from her cereal. "Was that the mean lady?" "Yeah." "What did she want?" Marcus tucked the check into his pocket. "I think she wants me to save her again." Emma considered this for a moment. Then she shrugged and went back to her cereal. "You're good at that," she said matter-of-factly. "Saving people." Marcus smiled. "Let's hope so, sweetheart. Let's hope so." The coffee shop smelled like burnt espresso and broken promises. Marcus arrived 20 minutes early. Old habit. The kind you pick up when your life depends on knowing every exit before someone walks through the door. He chose a table in the back corner. Clear sightline to the entrance. Wall behind him. 2 exits. Front door and service entrance through the kitchen. He counted the customers. 12. Mostly professionals killing time between meetings. None of them looked twice at the man in the worn jacket and work boots. Good. At 11:47, Victoria Chase walked in. She looked different than she had at Meridian Tower. Smaller somehow. She wore jeans and a simple gray sweater. Her hair pulled back in a ponytail. No heels. No armor. Just a woman trying very hard not to look like a CEO. She spotted him immediately and crossed the room with quick, nervous steps. "You're early," she said. "So are you." She slid into the chair across from him. Her hands were shaking. She noticed him noticing and shoved them under the table. "Thank you for coming," she said. "You're paying me to be here. That check you sent. That's 3 months of rent. It's what you were owed, 15 years of service. The severance they gave you was insulting." Marcus studied her face, the dark circles under her eyes, the tension in her jaw, the way she kept glancing toward the door like she expected someone to walk through it. "You said someone's trying to destroy your company," he said. "Start there." Victoria took a breath. 6 months ago, we started noticing irregularities, small things at first. Shipments delayed, research data corrupted, key employees leaving without explanation. Corporate sabotage. That's what I thought. But then it got personal. She pulled out her phone and slid it across the table. 3 weeks ago, someone sent this to every board member. Marcus looked at the screen. Financial records, bank statements, transaction histories, all of them linked to offshore accounts with Victoria's name on them. "These are fake," Victoria said. "I've never seen these accounts in my life, but they're good fakes, good enough that the board launched an internal investigation. You're being framed." "Yes, and whoever's doing it knows everything. My schedule, my passwords, my private meetings. They know things that only someone very close to me could know." Marcus set the phone down. "You have a suspect." It wasn't a question. Victoria's face tightened. "I have a fear. That's different. Tell me." She was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was barely above a whisper. "Her name is Helena Vance. She's been my executive assistant for 8 years. She was with me before I became CEO, before I was anyone. She's the only person in the world who has access to everything. My calendar, my emails, my personal files. And you think she's betraying you?" "I don't want to think that." Victoria's voice cracked. "She held my hand at my father's funeral. She brought me soup when I forgot to eat for 3 days straight. She's the closest thing to family I have." Marcus waited. But 3 months ago, she started acting different, distant, nervous. She takes calls in private now, leaves early, and last week I found her in my office at 2 a.m. She said she was looking for a file, but my computer was open, and I never leave my computer open. "Did you confront her?" "No." Victoria shook her head. "Because if I'm wrong, I destroy the only real relationship I have left. And if I'm right..." She trailed off. "If you're right, then everything you thought you knew about people is a lie." Victoria looked at him. "Yes." Marcus understood that fear. The fear of looking at someone you loved and seeing a stranger looking back. "Why me?" he asked. "You have security, lawyers, private investigators. Why bring in a janitor?" Victoria met his eyes. "Because you see things. You said it yourself. You listen when nobody else does. You knew exactly what was wrong with my building when a team of engineers couldn't figure it out. You looked at my daughter..." She stopped. "I mean, you looked at your daughter, and you saw that she was scared before anyone else did." She leaned forward. "I don't need someone who can read a spreadsheet. I need someone who can read people. And everyone I've met in the last 10 years has been trying to sell me something. Use me for something. Take something from me. But you..." She shook her head. "You came back to save a building full of people who never knew your name. You did it for nothing. That's not something you can fake." Marcus was quiet. "I'll pay you," Victoria continued. "Whatever you want, name your price." "I don't want your money." "Then what do you want?" Marcus thought about Emma, the negative lunch balance, the permission slips he couldn't afford to sign, the future he couldn't give her on $47 and broken promises. "Benefits," he said. "Health insurance, dental. The kind that covers everything without asking questions." Victoria blinked. "That's it?" My daughter needs braces, and I haven't been to a doctor in 6 years because I couldn't afford the copay." Something shifted in Victoria's face, a crack in the wall she'd built around herself. "Done," she said. "What else?" "Flexible hours. I pick up Emma from school at 3:15. That's non-negotiable." "Understood. And one more thing." Marcus leaned forward. "If I find out Helena is innocent, you don't fire her. You don't punish her. You apologize. And you mean it." Victoria's jaw tightened. "And if she's guilty, then I'll handle it my way." For a long moment, Victoria just looked at him. Then slowly she extended her hand across the table. "We have a deal, Mr. Reed." Marcus shook it. Her grip was stronger than he expected. "Call me Marcus. Then call me Victoria." She almost smiled. "Nobody does anymore." That night, Marcus sat on the edge of Emma's bed after she fell asleep. He watched her breathe. Watched the way her hand curled under her pillow the same way her mother's used to. He didn't know what he was getting into. Didn't know if he could trust Victoria Chase. Didn't know if Helena Vance was guilty or innocent or something in between. But he knew one thing. For the first time in 3 years, he had a chance. A real chance to build something. To provide for his daughter. To matter again. And he wasn't going to waste it. His phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. "Thank you for giving me a chance I don't deserve." Marcus stared at the message for a long time. Then he typed back, "Everyone deserves a chance. That's the whole point." He set the phone down and looked at Emma one more time. "I'm going to fix this," he whispered. "All of it. I promise." She didn't hear him. She was already dreaming. But Marcus meant every word. The first week was observation. Victoria gave Marcus a badge. A real one this time, with clearance that let him move through the building like a ghost. He came in early, stayed late, watched everything. Helena Vance was exactly what Victoria had described. Professional, efficient, devoted. She anticipated Victoria's needs before Victoria knew she had them. She remembered everyone's birthday. She knew which board members took their coffee black and which ones were secretly in AA. She was perfect. Too perfect. Marcus noticed it on the third day. The way Helena's eyes tracked Victoria's movements. Not with loyalty. With calculation. The way her smile never quite reached her eyes when she thought no one was watching. The way she always positioned herself between Victoria and the door. He'd seen that behavior before. In combat. In men who were planning something and waiting for the right moment. On Friday, he followed her. Helena left the office at 6:47 p.m., early for her. She walked 3 blocks to a parking garage, drove to the Upper East Side, and parked outside a brownstone that definitely didn't match her salary. Marcus watched from across the street as she went inside. 20 minutes later, she came out with a man. Gray suit, silver watch. The kind of face that looked like it had never been punched but deserved to be. They talked for 4 minutes. Helena handed him a USB drive. The man handed her an envelope. Then they went separate directions like they'd never met at all. Marcus pulled out his phone and took pictures of everything. That night he showed them to Victoria. She sat in her home office, a converted bedroom in her penthouse that looked more like a bunker than a workspace, and stared at the photos without speaking. "The man is Raymond Cross," Marcus said. "Executive VP at Hartley Wells. Your competitors." Victoria's face went pale. "Hartley Wells tried to buy us out last year. I turned them down." "Looks like they found another way in." "And Helena." Victoria's voice broke. 8 years. 8 years, and she's been... We don't know how long. Could be recent. Could be from the beginning. Victoria looked up at him. Her eyes were wet. "How did I not see this? You trusted her. That's not a weakness." "It feels like one." Marcus pulled a chair over and sat across from her. Not as an employee, not as a consultant, just as someone who understood what it felt like to be betrayed by the people you loved most. "When my wife was dying," he said quietly, I missed the signs. She'd been sick for months, tired all the time, losing weight, complaining about stomach pain. I told her it was stress, told her to take it easy. By the time we got to the hospital, the cancer had spread everywhere. Victoria looked at him. Marcus? The doctor said even if we'd caught it earlier, it might not have mattered. But I'll never know for sure. And I've spent every day since wondering if I could have saved her, if I'd just been paying attention. He leaned forward. You're not stupid, Victoria. You're not weak. You just made the mistake of believing that someone who held your hand at a funeral was incapable of stabbing you in the back. That's human. That's normal. The only people who don't make that mistake are the ones who never trust anyone at all. Victoria wiped her eyes. Is that supposed to make me feel better? No, it's supposed to make you angry. Her head snapped up. What? Helena didn't just betray you. She weaponized your trust. She used your father's death, your loneliness, your need for connection. She used all of it against you. And if you let yourself collapse into grief right now, she wins. Marcus stood. So grieve later. Right now, I need you to get mad. I need you to focus, because we're going to take her down. But only if you're ready to fight. Victoria stared at him for a long moment. Then something shifted in her face. The tears dried. The jaw set. The CEO came back. What do you need? She asked. Access to her personnel file, her phone records, and a list of everyone she's met with in the last 6 months. Done. And one more thing. Marcus hesitated. Your daughter, Sophie. Where is she right now? Victoria's face went rigid. At home with the nanny. Why? Because if Helena is working with Hartley Wells, this isn't just about money. It's about leverage. And the best leverage against a mother... Victoria shot to her feet. No, don't even say it. I'm not saying they're planning anything. I'm saying we need to be careful. Sophie is off limits. She's completely off limits. Then let me protect her. Marcus held up his hands. Not full-time. Just let me keep an eye on things. Let me know where she is, who she's with. I have a daughter too. I know what it feels like to wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if she's safe. Victoria's breathing was ragged. The CEO armor had cracked again. Underneath was just a mother terrified. Okay, she whispered. Okay, just, please don't let anything happen to her. I won't, Marcus said. That's a promise. 2 weeks passed. Marcus built a case slowly, methodically, the way you disarm a bomb, one wire at a time, knowing that one wrong move could blow everything apart. Helena was good. She covered her tracks with the precision of someone who'd been doing this for years. But she wasn't perfect. Nobody was. He found the cracks. A payment she'd forgotten to delete. A meeting she'd logged under the wrong name. A text message she'd sent from her work phone instead of her burner. The evidence was mounting. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. Meanwhile, something else was happening. Something Marcus hadn't expected. Emma and Sophie became friends. It started by accident. Marcus had picked up Emma from school and was heading to Meridian Tower when Victoria called in a panic. Sophie's nanny had quit without notice. Victoria was stuck in a board meeting. She had no one else to call. I'll get her, Marcus said. You don't have to. I'm already out. Give me the address. Sophie was 9 years old, a year older than Emma. Dark hair, serious eyes. A way of looking at people like she was trying to figure out if they were worth trusting. She reminded Marcus of her mother. You're the janitor, Sophie said when she climbed into his car. Used to be. Mom said you saved the building. Just fix the lights. Sophie studied him in the rearview mirror. She also said you were kind. That's not something she usually says about people. Marcus didn't know how to respond to that. He just drove. When they got to Meridian Tower, Emma was waiting in his office. A small room on the operations floor that had become his unofficial headquarters. She looked up when Sophie walked in. For a moment, the two girls just stared at each other. Then Emma smiled. "Want to see my drawings?" Sophie shrugged. "Okay." By the time Victoria finished her meeting, the girls were sitting cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by crayons and paper, arguing about whether dragons could beat dinosaurs in a fight. "Dragons have fire," Emma insisted. "But dinosaurs are real," Sophie countered. "Real always beats made up." "My dad's real, and he beats made-up stuff all the time." Sophie considered this. What does that mean? It means he fixes things that people think can't be fixed. He made a building come back to life. He's like a wizard, but for pipes. Victoria appeared in the doorway. She watched her daughter laughing with the janitor's kid. And something in her face softened. "Thank you," she said quietly to Marcus. "Just doing my job." "No." She shook her head. "This is more than that. Sophie doesn't laugh like that. Not with anyone." Marcus watched the girls. They're good for each other. Emma needs a friend who isn't afraid of hard things. And Sophie needs someone who doesn't see her as a CEO's daughter. Yeah. Victoria was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Do you want to stay for dinner?" Marcus looked at her. "What?" "I was going to order something for me and Sophie. But if you and Emma want to join us..." She looked almost nervous, like she was asking a question that had more weight than she wanted to admit. Marcus thought about saying no, about keeping the boundaries clear. Employee and employer. Nothing more. But Emma was laughing, really laughing, the way she used to before her mother died. "Sure," he said. "We'll stay." They ordered Chinese food and ate it in Victoria's office because the conference room felt too formal, and neither of them wanted to stop the girls from playing. Victoria watched Marcus help Emma with her chopsticks, watched the patience in his hands, the gentleness. "You're good with her," she said. "She's easy to be good with." "That's not true. Kids are complicated. Sophie's complicated." Victoria picked at her lo mein. "She hasn't been the same since her father left." Marcus looked up. "I didn't know you were married." "Divorced, 4 years ago. He decided he wanted a simpler life. A younger wife. A fresh start somewhere that didn't remind him of his failures." Her voice was bitter. "He calls Sophie once a month if she's lucky. Sends checks when he remembers. She pretends it doesn't hurt." "Does it?" "Everything hurts when you're a kid. You just learn to hide it better as you get older." Marcus thought about Emma. The way she held it together at her mother's funeral. The way she never asked for things she knew he couldn't afford. "Yeah," he said. "I guess you do." They sat in comfortable silence while the girls played. For a few hours there were no board meetings, no betrayals, no billion-dollar deals hanging in the balance. Just two broken people trying to protect the ones they loved. Later, after Marcus had carried a sleeping Emma to the car, Victoria walked him to the lobby. "Same time tomorrow?" she asked. "Yeah, I've got a lead on one of Helena's offshore contacts. Should have something solid by end of week." Victoria nodded, but she didn't move toward the elevator. She just stood there, arms crossed, looking at him like she wanted to say something but didn't know how. "What?" Marcus asked. "I was just thinking." She shook her head. "Stupid thought." "Tell me anyway." Victoria took a breath. "I was thinking that I've known you for 3 weeks. And in that time you've done more for me for Sophie than most people have done in years. You've been kind without wanting anything, honest without being cruel. And I keep waiting for the catch." "There's no catch." "That's what scares me." She looked at him with eyes that had seen too many lies. "Because everyone has a catch, Marcus. Everyone wants something." He stepped closer, not threatening, not aggressive, just present. "What I want," he said slowly, "is for my daughter to grow up in a world where people like you don't have to be afraid all the time. Where trust isn't a weakness. Where doing the right thing actually matters." He shrugged. "That's it. That's the catch." Victoria stared at him, and for just a moment, so brief he almost missed it, her armor fell away completely. Underneath was something raw, something real. Nobody talks like that anymore, she whispered. Maybe that's the problem. She almost smiled. Almost. Good night, Marcus. Good night, Victoria. He walked out into the night, Emma sleeping against his shoulder, and didn't look back, but he felt her watching him until the doors closed. The break came 3 weeks later. Marcus was in his office reviewing security footage when his phone buzzed. Unknown number. Reed. Mr. Reed. The voice was unfamiliar. Female. Cold. I think we should talk. Who is this? Someone who knows what you're looking for, and someone who can give it to you. For a price. Marcus's jaw tightened. I'm listening. Helena Vance is a means to an end. She's not the mastermind. She's the puppet. And the person pulling her strings is much closer to Victoria than you think. Then tell me who. Meet me tomorrow night, 9 p.m. The old warehouse on Pier 47. Come alone, and I'll give you everything you need. The line went dead. Marcus stared at his phone. Every instinct he had was screaming trap. The isolated location, the anonymous caller, the promise of easy answers. But if there was even a chance she was telling the truth, he made a decision. That night, he told Victoria about the call, showed her the number, laid out the risks. It's too dangerous, she said immediately. You can't go alone. I'm not asking for permission. Marcus, if there's someone else involved, someone inside your circle, we need to know, and this might be our only chance to find out. Victoria's face was tight with fear. Then let me send security with you. Let me... Marcus shook his head. She said, come alone. If I show up with backup, she disappears. We lose the lead. And if it's a trap... Marcus smiled grimly. Then I guess you'll need to find a new janitor. Victoria grabbed his arm. Her grip was fierce. Don't joke about that, she said. Don't you dare joke about that. He looked at her. Really looked. And what he saw surprised him. Fear. Not for her company. Not for her reputation. For him. I'll be careful, he said softly. That's not good enough. It's all I've got. She didn't let go. Her eyes were searching his face, looking for something she couldn't name. If something happens to you, she said, Emma loses her father. Sophie loses the only person who's made her smile in months. And I... She stopped. You what? Marcus asked. Victoria's voice was barely a whisper. I lose the only person who's ever seen me. Really seen me. And I can't. She shook her head. I can't do this alone, Marcus. Not anymore. He covered her hand with his, gently, carefully, like he was holding something precious. You're not alone, he said. And you won't be. I promise. She looked at him with eyes that wanted to believe, but didn't know how. I'm going to hold you to that, she said. I'm counting on it. The night before the meeting, Marcus sat on Emma's bed and watched her sleep. She looked so peaceful, so unaware of the danger circling around them. He'd spent his whole life trying to protect her from the darkness in the world. And now, he was about to walk straight into it. Daddy! Her voice was sleepy, confused. Hey, sweetheart. Go back to sleep. Are you okay? She rubbed her eyes. You look worried. Marcus smiled. Just thinking. About what? He was quiet for a moment. About how much I love you, and how there's nothing in this world I wouldn't do to keep you safe. Emma reached out and took his hand. Her fingers were so small, so trusting. I know, Daddy, she said. You're the strongest person I know. You always come back. Always. He squeezed her hand. Yeah, I do. Promise. Promise. She smiled sleepily and closed her eyes. Within minutes, she was breathing deep and slow. Marcus sat there for a long time holding his daughter's hand in the darkness. Tomorrow, he would walk into the unknown. Tonight, he held on to the only thing that mattered. Pier 47 smelled like rust and salt water and bad decisions. Marcus arrived at 8:43. Early again. He walked the perimeter twice, checking exits, counting shadows, listening to the silence. No cars in the lot. No movement behind the shattered glass. He didn't like it. But he was here now. No point in turning back. At 8:56, headlights swept across the lot. A black sedan pulled up. Expensive, tinted windows. The kind of car that belonged in a corporate garage, not a forgotten dock. The door opened. A woman stepped out. Mid-40s, sharp features, gray blazer over black slacks. She moved with the confidence of someone who was used to being in control. "Mr. Reed." Her voice echoed across the empty lot. "Thank you for coming." Marcus stayed where he was. "You have a name." "You can call me Catherine." "That your real name?" "Does it matter?" Marcus studied her face. No nervousness, no fear. She wasn't a messenger. She was a player. "You said you had information," he said. "Talk." Catherine smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Helena Vance has been feeding information to Hartley Wells for 3 years. But she's not doing it for money. She's doing it because someone promised her something she wanted more than cash." "What?" "Victoria's job." Marcus felt his jaw tighten. "Helena wants to be CEO," Catherine continued. "Helena believes she deserves to be CEO. She was there before Victoria. She did the work, made the sacrifices. And then Victoria waltzed in, younger, prettier, better connected, and took everything Helena had been building toward. So this is revenge. This is justice. At least that's how Helena sees it." Catherine took a step closer. "But here's what Helena doesn't know. The people she's working with, they don't plan to make her CEO. They plan to destroy Meridian completely. And once the company falls, Helena becomes a liability, a loose end." Marcus processed this. "You're saying she's being played. I'm saying everyone is being played, including you." "What's that supposed to mean?" Catherine's smile faded. "You think Victoria Chase hired you because you're good at reading people. She hired you because you're disposable, a janitor with no connections, no power, no one who would miss him if he disappeared. You're the perfect fall guy." Marcus didn't flinch. "Keep talking. When this is over, when Helena is exposed and Hartley Wells backs off Victoria, we'll need someone to blame for how long it took. Someone who missed the signs. Someone who failed to protect her." Catherine tilted her head. "Who do you think that will be? You don't know her." "I know women like her. I've worked with them my entire career. They use people, Marcus. They chew them up and spit them out. And they never ever take responsibility for their own failures." Marcus was quiet for a long moment. The wind off the water was cold, sharp. It cut through his jacket like a blade. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Because I was Helena once. Loyal, devoted, willing to do anything for someone who didn't deserve it. And when I finally opened my eyes, it was almost too late." "So what do you want?" Catherine reached into her blazer and pulled out a USB drive. "This contains everything. Bank records, communications, the full paper trail linking Helena to Hartley Wells. It also contains proof that Victoria knew about the vulnerabilities in her company's security for months and did nothing." Marcus didn't take the drive. "Why would you give this to me?" "Because I want you to understand what you're dealing with. Victoria Chase isn't some innocent victim caught in a corporate conspiracy. She's a woman who built her empire on the backs of people she considered beneath her. People like you. People like me. People like Helena. Helena made her choice. She'll face the consequences. But Victoria should face them too." Catherine held out the drive. "Take it. Use it. Or don't. But don't say I didn't warn you." Marcus looked at the drive, then at Catherine, then at the darkness surrounding them. Something wasn't right. "Who sent you?" he asked. Catherine's expression flickered, just for a second, but Marcus caught it. I told you, I'm someone who knows what you're looking for. That's not what I asked. He took a step back. Who sent you? Silence. And then from somewhere behind the warehouse, the sound of footsteps. Multiple. Heavy. Moving fast. Marcus didn't wait. He was running before his brain caught up with his body. Instinct took over. The same instinct that had kept him alive through 4 tours in Afghanistan. He cut left away from the footsteps toward the chain-link fence at the edge of the lot. Stop him! Catherine's voice rang out. More footsteps. Closer now. At least 3 men. Maybe 4. Marcus hit the fence and climbed. His bad knee screamed in protest. He ignored it. Adrenaline was a hell of a painkiller. He dropped to the other side and kept running. Behind him, someone was cursing. Someone else was on a phone calling for backup. He didn't look back. 3 blocks later, he ducked into an alley and pressed himself against the wall, breathing hard. His phone buzzed. Victoria. He answered. Marcus, are you okay? I've been trying to reach you for an hour. I'm fine. He was wheezing. Change of plans. The meeting was a setup. What? They tried to grab me. I got out. But listen to me. Whatever's happening, it's bigger than Helena. There are people involved that we don't know about yet. Where are you? Doesn't matter. What matters is Sophie. Where is she right now? Home with the security team. Why? Keep her there. Don't let her go anywhere. Don't let anyone you don't trust within 100 feet of her. Marcus, you're scaring me. Good. You should be scared. He took a breath. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Don't move until I get there. He hung up and started running again. Victoria was pacing when he arrived. She'd sent the security team to sweep the building twice. Sophie was in her room, confused and frightened, asking questions that Victoria couldn't answer. The moment Marcus walked through the door, Victoria crossed the room and grabbed his shoulders. What the hell happened? He told her. Everything. Catherine. The USB drive. The ambush. The warning about being disposable. Victoria's face went pale. She said I was using you. She said a lot of things. Most of it was probably designed to turn me against you. But you're not sure. Marcus looked at her. Really looked. The fear in her eyes was real. The concern was real. He'd spent his whole life reading people. And everything in him said that Victoria Chase, for all her flaws, was not the monster Catherine had described. I'm sure, he said. Victoria's breath caught. How can you be? Because you came to me, not the other way around. Because when your building went dark and your whole life was on the line, you called back the janitor you'd just humiliated. Because you let your daughter play with mine. Because you asked me to stay for dinner. He shook his head. People who use other people don't do that. They don't take risks. They don't show vulnerability. And they definitely don't let their guards down around someone who has nothing to offer them. Victoria's eyes glistened. I don't know how to. You don't have to say anything. Marcus put his hands on her shoulders. Steady, grounding. Right now we need to focus. Someone set that trap tonight. Someone who knew I was investigating Helena. Someone who wanted to either grab me or scare me off. Who? I don't know yet, but I'm going to find out. That night Marcus didn't sleep. He went through everything, every file, every record, every piece of evidence he'd gathered over the past month. And then he went through it again, looking for connections he'd missed. At 3 a.m., he found it. A name buried in Helena's phone records. A number she'd called 12 times in the past 2 weeks. The calls were short, never more than 90 seconds. But they were consistent, regular. Marcus traced the number to a burner phone. Dead end. But the burner had been purchased at a convenience store in Brooklyn, and that store had security cameras. At 6 a.m., Marcus was at the store showing his badge and asking to see the footage. The clerk was suspicious at first, but $100 and a story about a missing daughter changed his mind. Marcus watched 3 hours of footage before he found it. A woman, mid-40s, sharp features, gray blazer, Catherine, but she wasn't alone. A man stood beside her at the counter, tall, silver watch, the kind of face that looked like it had never been punched but deserved to be. Raymond Cross, the Hartley Wells executive. Marcus had his connection. He called Victoria. "I know who Catherine is," he said, "and I know who she's working for." "Who?" "Raymond Cross. He's running the whole thing. Helena, the fake accounts, the setup at the pier. All of it traces back to him." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. "Raymond was my father's protege. He worked at Meridian for 15 years before he left for Hartley Wells. Then he knows your systems, your weaknesses, everything. He knows me." Victoria's voice was hollow. "He was at my father's funeral. He gave the eulogy." Marcus felt the weight of that settle over him. Another betrayal. Another person she'd trusted who had turned out to be poison. "I'm sorry," he said. "Don't be. Just stop him." "I will. But I need your help." "What do you need?" "A trap. Something that will force Helena to make a move. Something that will bring Raymond out of the shadows." Victoria was quiet, thinking. "The board meeting," she said finally. "It's in 3 days. I'm supposed to present our quarterly projections. If Helena thinks that's her chance to expose me, she'll move. And Raymond will be watching. And if we're wrong, if she doesn't take the bait, then we'll find another way. But right now, this is our best shot." Marcus took a breath. "Okay. What do you need me to do?" "Act normal. Go to your meetings, smile at Helena, pretend you don't know anything." "I don't know if I can do that." "You can. You've been doing it your whole life." The silence stretched between them. "That's not a compliment," Victoria said quietly. "No, it's not. But right now, it's what's going to save your company." The board meeting was scheduled for 2 p.m. At 1:47, Marcus took his position in the security center, a small room on the operations floor with feeds from every camera in the building. He had 3 monitors running, tracking every entrance, every exit, every hallway that led to the boardroom. Victoria was already seated at the conference table reviewing her notes. She looked calm, professional, every inch the CEO. Only Marcus knew about the tremor in her hands that morning. The way she'd gripped her coffee cup like it was the only thing keeping her upright. Helena sat 3 chairs to Victoria's left. Tablet open, stylus ready. The perfect assistant. Marcus watched her face on the monitor, looking for cracks, looking for tells. At 2:03, the meeting began. Victoria presented the quarterly projections. Revenue was up. Market share was expanding. Everything looked perfect. At 2:17, her phone buzzed. Victoria glanced at it. Her expression didn't change, but Marcus saw her shoulders tighten. "If you'll excuse me for just a moment," she said to the board, "I need to take this." She stepped out of the room. Marcus watched Helena. The moment Victoria left, something shifted. Helena's fingers moved across her tablet faster, more urgent. She was typing something. Then she stood. "I need to use the restroom," she announced to no one in particular. She walked out of the boardroom and turned left, toward the executive offices, not the restroom. Marcus was already moving. He caught up to her in the hallway outside Victoria's office. She had her hand on the door. "Helena." She froze, turned slowly. Her face was a mask of confusion. "Mr. Reed, I forgot something in Victoria's office. A file." "What file?" "Quarterly reports. She asked me to grab them earlier." "The quarterly reports are in the boardroom. I watched you pull them up on your tablet 10 minutes ago." Helena's mask cracked, just for a second, but it was enough. "I don't know what you're implying," she said. "I'm not implying anything." Marcus stepped closer. I'm telling you that I know Helena. I know about Raymond Cross. I know about the offshore accounts. I know about the USB drive you've been using to copy Victoria's files. Her face went white. I have no idea what you're talking about. Then you won't mind if I check your bag. Helena's hand moved toward her purse. Instinctive. Protective. That's what I thought. Marcus pulled out his phone. I have security on standby, federal agents too. You can either come with me quietly, or we can do this the hard way. Helena's eyes darted left-right looking for an escape. There wasn't one. You don't understand, she said. Her voice was shaking now. You don't understand what she did to me. Then tell me. I gave her everything. Helena's composure shattered. Tears streamed down her face. 15 years. I built this company. I was here when it was nothing, when her father was running it into the ground. I saved it. I made it profitable. And when he died, I finally thought, you thought you'd take over. I deserved to take over. Helena's voice rose. But then she came back. His precious daughter, the one who'd been off playing socialite while I was working 18-hour days. And suddenly, I was invisible again. A secretary, an assistant, someone to fetch coffee and manage calendars while she took credit for everything I built. Marcus watched her fall apart. Part of him understood. Part of him had felt that same rage. The fury of being overlooked, undervalued, erased. But understanding wasn't the same as excusing. So, you sold her out, he said. I took what I was owed. Helena's eyes were wild now. Raymond promised me. Raymond lied to you. Marcus's voice was cold. He doesn't want you to be CEO. He wants Meridian destroyed. And once that happens, you become a problem. A witness. Someone who knows too much. Helena's face contorted. That's not true. I have proof. Bank records, communications, the whole trail. You were never going to get what you wanted, Helena. You were just a tool, and tools get thrown away when they're no longer useful. For a long moment, Helena just stood there. Broken. Defeated. Then her hand moved. The gun came from nowhere. Small. Silver. Hidden in her purse. She raised it with shaking hands and pointed it at Marcus's chest. You're lying, she whispered. You're trying to trick me. Marcus didn't move. Put the gun down, Helena. I can't go to prison. I can't. I won't. You don't have to shoot anyone. Just put the gun down and we'll talk. There's nothing to talk about. She was sobbing now. The gun trembled in her grip. It's over. Everything is over. It's not over. Marcus took a slow step forward. You made mistakes. Bad ones. But you can still do the right thing. You can help us take down Raymond. You can tell the truth. The truth doesn't matter. It never mattered. It matters to me. Another step. And it matters to the people you hurt. Victoria trusted you. She loved you. And yeah, maybe she didn't see you the way you wanted to be seen. But that doesn't justify this. That doesn't justify any of this. Helena's hand was shaking so badly the gun was almost bouncing. I just wanted to matter, she whispered. I just wanted someone to see me. I see you, Helena. Marcus was close now. Close enough to touch the barrel. I see a woman who worked her whole life for something and never got the recognition she deserved. I see someone who made a terrible choice because she was hurt and angry and alone. He reached out slowly, gently. But I also see someone who can still make this right. It's not too late. It's never too late. Helena looked at him. Her eyes were red, hollow, and then slowly, her hand lowered. Marcus took the gun, eased it from her grip, held her as she collapsed against him sobbing. I'm sorry, she kept saying. I'm so sorry. I know, Marcus said quietly. I know. The federal agents arrived 20 minutes later. They took Helena into custody gently at Marcus's insistence. She didn't resist, didn't fight, just walked between them with empty eyes and slumped shoulders. Raymond Cross was arrested that evening at his office in the Hartley Wells building. The evidence Marcus had gathered was enough for multiple indictments. Fraud, corporate espionage, conspiracy. Victoria watched the news coverage from her office. Marcus stood beside her. 8 years, she said softly. 8 years, and I never knew. Nobody did. I should have. I should have paid attention. I should have. Her voice broke. She was my friend Marcus, the only real friend I had. Marcus didn't have words for that. Some wounds didn't heal with words. He just stood there, present, solid, letting her grieve. After a long silence, Victoria spoke again. What happens now? Now you rebuild, clean, transparent, the way it should have been from the beginning. And you, Marcus looked at her. What do you mean? I mean this is over. Helena's gone. Raymond's in custody. You did what I hired you to do. You're asking if I'm leaving. I'm asking if you want to. Marcus thought about it. The job was done. The crisis was over. He could walk away right now. Take Emma back to their apartment. Find another maintenance job. Go back to being invisible. But something had changed over the past month. Something he hadn't expected. No, he said. I don't want to leave. Victoria's eyes glistened. Why not? Because you still need someone who sees you, really sees you. He shrugged. And because my daughter has finally found a friend. I'm not going to take that away from her. Victoria almost smiled. That's it. Those are your reasons. Those are the reasons I'm willing to say out loud. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Victoria reached out and took his hand. Stay, she said. Please. Marcus looked at their intertwined fingers. Her grip was warm, certain. Okay, he said. And for the first time in a very long time, he meant it. Some people look at things but don't really see them. But the ones who do, the ones who pay attention, who show up, who choose to stay, they're the ones who change everything. Marcus Reed was that kind of person. And because of him, Victoria Chase became one too. Not all heroes wear capes or carry badges or save the world in spectacular ways. Some of them carry mops. Some of them fix broken things. Some of them just show up day after day and refuse to let the people they love face the darkness alone. That's the only kind of hero that matters. And that's exactly who Marcus Reed turned out to be.